is really different about Winter Bear this game versus the last one is just the difference in style, right? They don't have that jump pick-off. They've got that with a Centaur, but it's a position 4 Centaur, right? So it's going to be a little bit, even if he does eventually get into a Blink Dagger, who knows? He might not even do it. He just might like try and tank up a few different braces and see how that serves him. But it really just feels like they're going to be this inevitable pushing force, right? Where you just rally around a Necro, let Mikey just live, basically, and do a lot of the work off the back of that. So I think this will be a lot slower paced game for Winter Bear in particular.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like they're going to hit like the double blink timing, right? And kind of just go super ham. It's going to be a little bit harder for them to be able to get a lot of those pickoffs. It's going to be much more about getting low skill to those, 2-3 items that the Myrtle really, really likes. You want to try and sit back and farm because you've got a much more greedier position 4. So, yeah, it is going to be a little bit more of a slower approach here from the Winter Bear, but I think they've got quite a lot going for them. But once again, question is, Matt, Midas's, how many we got?
Well, we got 0 last game.
Yeah,
so.
Which was kind of surprising. I said 4. I think I was a little bit too far out of my depth with that one, but
I thought it would be 1. I ended up saying 2 just because people are very Midas happy. It was really on the back of, I thought, honestly, that Woofer fans would have a much rougher time, and Faceless Warrior would be forced to go into one. But he didn't. He had a pretty decent time in the early game, and it just came down to the fact of initiation that gave him a little bit of an issue. I mean, the big thing for mine is you can already see what Shushu has queued up. It's that Meteor Hammer. So he's not even considering the old Midas OD route. He really wants to open up this map a little bit, not just for himself, but for Dragon Soul on the Lunar as well. And it's going to be very important that they do use that space to get a lot of this early farm so that when they do come online, it's a significant amount sooner than the Muerta, because I really feel like low skill, he could just absolutely rip apart the Lunar once it gets to the later stages.
Yeah, that's the scary part, right? Is if this is kind of on even footing for both the Lunar as well as the Muerta, he's probably pretty happy. Oh, he's probably just going to get chased down here. Yeah, this is just going to be a few more auto attacks. They're going to have a decay in just a moment here. And Nagato with the auto attack and the decay. Not enough.
Oh, nice try.
That was close. That was very, very close.
The courier? Ooh, okay.
But Deadshot is in time there for low skill to be able to pick up first blood once again.
Mm-hmm. Nagato's going a little deep here, though.
He wants to try and deny, I think. I know, he's just kind of just chasing around with a double decay. So he's being an Undying underneath the Tier 1 tower.
Mm-hmm. This is kind of what he wants, right? He wanted to force it underneath the tower so that you're not getting this free farm back behind the Tier 1 tower. It means the lane's already going to be pushing back forward. It's going to be joined by another one in about 10 or so seconds. So things looking pretty good right now on this bottom side for Winter Bear.
Yeah, you can also see Low Skill's done a really good job of being able to pull it behind the Tier 1 tower himself as well. So they're going to have another creep wave that's going to join here. This is some great creep management coming in here from the side of Winter Bear. Let's have a quick check-in with the middle lane. This is going to be a lane that, if you're Mikey, you're going to very much want to just kind of sit here and farm, right? Like, you're not going to be able to pressure out the OD all too much. And if Shushu does get an early Meteor Hammer, then potentially that could be where the kills can come up for the side of Woofer fans.
Yeah, I'm really going to be interested to see what Mikey ends up doing, right? Like, he's just finished up his boots, but I really feel like that's just to make sure that he can avoid as many of these Astrals as possible. He probably isn't going to be leaving that mid lane unless he's got level 6 and he gets a haste rune. I really feel like that's the only sort of situation, because you end up losing that map pretty damn quickly to this Meteor Hammer OD.
They're doing a really, really good job so far. And speaking of good jobs, bottom side, Low Skill. That was a beautiful Remnants in towards the Deadshot as well. Gets a lot of damage on this low HP Kemps. He's going to try and
that is not your tower. He does.
It's unfortunately not League of Legends, and it doesn't matter if the tower kills you. Yeah, thank God. Did you guys hear that apparently they have a something going on this weekend? I don't know.
I have no idea. No. I have no idea what it could be.
Top side, though, only something that we do know what's going on, and it is a gank going towards the way of QJY. He's getting burnt down by the ion shells, and Merlin's going to try and find a second victim. He's able to get it there onto Dragon Soul. So once again, Winter Bears having a very, very strong offlane. This time around, though, much more greedier offlane. So this is where it starts getting a little concerning for the Woofer fans, because it looks like a lot of their members are getting pushed behind Tier 1 towers. I can see Mikey is diving pretty deep against Shushu. And it was
That's what
also
Necro's capable of, right? Like, it doesn't really care about having all of that mana stolen. It just really fills up his mana pool that much quicker when he ends up getting a lot of these last hits, right? From the Heartstopper Aurora, from the passive. All those creeps are just going to keep him nice and healthy.
yeah, and you can just see that Shushu not being able to get the procs on the Essence Aura means that, or Essence Flux as it's called now.
Of course.
He doesn't have the mana back, so it is very hard for him to continue this bearing. QJY though has found out some of these stacks. That was something that was big in game number 1. Was a lot of these stacks. So Merlin's going to keep these auto attacks going. There is a water rune in the river, so QJY is going to be happy with that. Hoostomp goes in, Merlin steals it, double edge in his face. Does have another blood grenade for QJY, so they're just going to leave that one be. There's a lot of action happening across all of these different lanes here, man. I don't know how good buddy Dougie's going to have to try and figure this
nice
one out.
dead shot.
Oh, once again, Blade Moose unfortunately stuck between a rock and a hard place, and that hard place was some zombies. And the Gardo gets the extra kill. The zombies. Unfortunately, Matt, this has started much worse for Woofer fans than what game number 1 did.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. I kind of wasn't expecting it to happen, particularly top. Like, again, it's dual melee lane. Like, this is where a Treant Protector really shines. I know it is against a Darkseer, which makes things a little bit more challenging, but I really feel like they should have been able to get a whole lot more done, but it just goes to show the strength and the versatility, or maybe. Yeah, there we go. That's what can happen. So I was about to say, Centaur, level 3, he's already got more than 1,000 HP. That's kind of ridiculous. But still very vulnerable if you do catch him right next to the Tier 1 tower, especially with no armor being picked up this early on. That Wave of Terror just means that he gets shredded.
Oh, Mikey's in trouble here. That's a magic missile as well as the Wave of Terror. He does not have the Ghost Shroud, so he's just going to try and get a trade kill here. That Ashland Imprisonment will definitely be his death, and now Merlin's going to come in and try and get the trade onto Blade Moose, but with Shushu around here as well, he doesn't have the damage. Oh, no. Merlin just needed that little bit of extra onto Blade Moose, and that would have been a kill, but they don't get it done. And you can just see, sometimes you just go a little bit too over-aggressive, and now there's been 2 good rotations from Blade Moose.
It has been, and I mean, to be fair, that's kind of what you have to be doing as a Necro. If you're not getting aggressive, if you're not really bullying out the enemy as a Necro, what are you doing, right? Oh man, it's a shield rune Centaur. Of course it is.
They have Reaper Scythe too. Yep, that's going to be the first stack going into the back pocket of Mikey. You talked about it. Shield rune, it's a little bit too strong.
Don't worry, he's still got it for the next 5 minutes active on him.
And he even double-edged himself as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, Frog. I know you listen to Daniel's cast every single time he casts.
Oh, for sure, he loves
I know
it.
You're sitting out here right now. Can you please get rid of Shield Rune?
Kemps is dead.
Yeah, and this is the one issue that you have with Underlord is I think Muerta is probably one of his biggest counters, just because of how much magic damage she can do early on. She does not care about your Atrophy Aura, and in combination with an Undying as well, you already said it, very, very strong lane.
Yeah.
And they are reaping the rewards of it right now.
Nagato? I'm interested to see what no skill goes for in terms of his skill build right now. Deadshot, always max that one out, right? It's just so great at being able to, if there's a bunch of stacks be built up for you, it's a lot of AoE damage. But, it's like a Chalby maybe okay?
He does have an Iron Shell. He can put it here onto Merlin. He will get the Hoostomp double edge as well. That is a left-right good night onto the Lunar, and QJY unfortunately has to try and deal with the reflection of himself. And what looked like a killer and a Kachal turns around to a 2-piece for Merlin, and that is, yeah, just another dagger into the heart of the Woofer fans, I think.
2-piece fear, that was delicious. But yeah, Kachal, he was very lucky that he had Merlin backing him up there. He was holding on to the lesser Lotus, and so ended up feeding that one over to him, making sure he was able to live. And maybe just, the art of bait is not lost on these teams. They're really looking to push every little edge that they can.
Yeah, Kachal was very masterful with that bait that time around, and really does feel like that he's been able to utilize and abuse Merlin's movement across the maps. Getting this early boots and Windlace means that this Centaur is very, very strong. And obviously the changes with Hoostomp, the fact that you could just run like a couple hundred units while you're still doing Hoostomp is ridiculous for me to watch. But it is extremely powerful in this game so far. And the question is, like, where do Woofer fans put a lot of their attention? So they just try and put a lot of their eggs into the Shushu basket now that he has this,
Well, they better.
this Meteor Hammer.
Because he's getting a 3-man rotation onto him. They are diving past this tower.
Well, they drop the Tombstone and the Blood Grenade, the Hoof Stomp, as well as the Double Edge. How much damage can they do? That is a Blade Mail, so it's a lot of damage that goes in onto the Outward Devourer. He did turn into the Dung Beetle for a little bit, but it wasn't enough for them to get dissuaded.
I'm a little surprised that they didn't preemptively have a few more people playing around him, right? That Meteor Hammer is what you're playing for with this little bit. Look at, even the Observer would be placed down, right? They want to make sure that they're scouting out any sort of defensive rotations to be able to help him out. They're not going to go for a dive that they feel they're not going to be able to handle. Both sides of this mid lane completely... Like, there's a third route right next to the river, so it just shows how much attention they're putting around this OD. They know that he's the one that could potentially change the outcome of this game for Woofer fans.
And it looks like once again they're going to stampede. They're going to get directly on top of Shushu. This will be a lot of rotation. Hoostomp comes in. They're going to have the Reaper's Scythe and the extra kill. The TP gets cancelled before it even completes, and that is a second stack for Mikey at 9 minutes into this game. It is looking dire. It is 5k already for the Winter Bear.
Yep. You just had to put a lot more attention onto this OD, right? He's basically fallen way behind. I mean, even the Underlord, right? Oh, actually, Muerta will end up getting away just off the back of the Pierce the Veil and a TP in from Merlin. But, I mean, Camps, he's not having an easy time himself either. He's got Arcane Boots finished up for himself, at least, but I'm not really seeing any stacks other than a stack of the hard camp that they're going to be able to take to potentially make up some of this 5k deficit.
Yeah, and the thing is if they're not quick smart about it, that stack can be found out, right? Like, all it takes is maybe like Merlin or Mikey to walk in there, and it's going to be hard for them to push them out. So we'll see what emphasis they can try and put back in.
Take these stacks. Everyone actually on Winterbear is capable of taking stacks on their own.
All right, first Meteor Hammer usage with the Astral Imprisonment basically does the same amount of damage back to him as what he did to Mikey. So. It's not the end all be all. To be fair, Sol is doing very, very well right now on the Luna. Maybe able to get himself a free kill here onto Nagato, who will just pop the ulti as well as the Tombstone. So that was the fastest eject button I think I've ever seen from Woofer fans.
Whenever you see that Flesh Golem be popped and they start running at you, you know something's up, but spoiler alert, actually, it wasn't. Merlin, he eventually comes through from the Twin Gate, but it's going to be a little bit late, and well, they might know where Dragon Soul's farming up on this top side, but I'd say they're going to be just as content to be able to just take this tower. They don't need kills. They just need to enable themselves to get repeat kills against the like of this Luna that still needs time to be able to farm.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I feel like Luna is kind of their one shining light, and QJY, unfortunately for him, he's just going to have 3 heroes run at him. He's going to dive behind his tier 1 tower once again. Mikey didn't get the Reaper Scythe off that time around, but, you know, as you said, the Luna is kind of the one hero they need to put a lot more pressure on. She's just constantly sitting back and farming. Got a lot of farm in that top wave. Is now just sitting back into the jungle.
Yeah. They know that she's not here. They think that she's going further towards the right-hand side. Just having a watch towards that mid lane, seeing when the Observer Ward is going to catch the Luna. I think it might have got a very brief glimpse, and yeah, they instantly ping exactly where Dragon Soul is, so that's the one that they're looking to prioritize right now. And they know that with the Meteor Hammer on the OD, they don't care. Like, if he's sitting back, he's not farming at the same speed as what our team is.
Yeah, they got a good little glimpse of the Luna. Now they're going to run into Blade Moose, who will get stampeded upon. Nice little Astral Imprisonment as well. They don't want to just throw out the Reaper Scythe there onto a support. They want to see if they can try and catch out Shushu, who will be able to move themselves away. And once again, Dragon Soul done a beautiful job at just kind of getting away from a lot of these potential ganks coming in from Winter Bear.
He goes straight back up towards the top side, this time underneath a ward at the very beginning of it, so I wonder how quickly they're going to be looking to make a move up towards that top side of the map. It's a little scarier to make that kill happen right next to a tier 2 tower just because of the TP potential. But I really wouldn't put it past them. I think they're hungry for more kills, but maybe they're just happy enough to be able to take away a lot of these more fruitful avenues to be able to pick up net worth, and that's generally this triangle area.
Yeah, putting a lot of pressure on the Ancients, right? Because I think that's one big boon for Luna at the carry, in the carry role, is she can farm those Ancients very, very fast. Nice little smoke up coming in here from the Woofer fans, though.
They might be able to get Kachal. That'd be a big deal.
Yeah, they have found him. There is no place for him to go. He's just going to get Astrod, he's going to get Meteor Hammered, and they will be able to take down the Darkseer.
Boys
he does
are coming.
respond. That's a lot of damage that's coming out here from the wall of Replica. Shushu, he's in an awkward spot. They're going to throw down the Reaper's Scythe in just a moment here from Mike, and they haven't been able to do all too much damage. They get it onto a full HP OD, so they don't get the extra stack, but they will eventually get the kill. So the Woofer fans, they lose 2 out of that. They do get the big kill onto Kachal, though. But will they lose anybody else? Merlin doesn't have a blink.
It's close to it, though. Position 4 Centaur nearly having up the blink, and another ward placed in this area. Just look at how much vision Winterbearer are dedicating towards this top side of the map. This is the cat and mouse that we're talking about, right? They just want to make sure they know exactly where Dragon Soul is at every single moment. He was still able to get away from that without dying, but it doesn't really work to extend the net worth lead at all. I mean, to me, it feels like once he's got the Manta style, you kind of have to go. I don't think you can necessarily wait for the Dragon Lance. It's just going to be too late. Muerta's going to be too farmed at that point.
Yeah, and that's, kind of the question I posed a little bit earlier on, right? Like, the Luna and the Muerta being on even footing, it's definitely going to start to pan out a lot more for the Muerta. A swap comes in. That was a nice little play there from Blade Moose to really be able to get themselves out of dodge, but unfortunately this does leave Kemps in between a rock and a hard place, and this is not the position you want to be if you are an Underlord. They are taking a lot of damage so far. They don't have the Reaper's Scythe here for Mike and be able to get the extra stack, but with the Vacuum and the Double Edge, Merlin completes the Blink Dagger. So, the small bit of running away that we've been able to do here for the side of Woofer fans won't be happening anymore. Mikey's just going to waddle in as this Necrophos. Again, doesn't really have the Reaper's Scythe just yet. Another 15 seconds, so they want to try and catch out Shushu here. Merlin really wants his crew to pick up the pace so he can get this Blink Dagger and catch out the OD. They won't be able to do it because Blade Moose will be a thorn in their side, and Merlin once again just trying to look for it. Can they hit the hoof stomp? They've got Stampede in 48 seconds, so that's not going to be the next thing they're going to look for. And this has been a chase throughout the entirety of the map of Dota 2. So if you guys have ever wanted to see what the bright shores of the top lane look like, Blade Moose will be able to give it to you. They Reaper him as well.
That's just hatred.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. That was a Benny Hill music right there. That's what that was.
So no Reapers. Pierce the Veil. 40-second cooldown. No Stampede for a little bit. No Wall of Replica. I really feel like now's the time that you've got to make something happen if you're Woofer fans, right? You've got the Manta style. It looks like he still wants to be able to get the Dragon Lance, but you haven't taken a single tower for yourselves. I think minimum you got to be playing around these siege creeps, right? Because this is the weakest Winterbearer ever going to be relative to you, despite the fact that they've got this huge net worth lead. Like, only one person's coming down bottom side. Yes, it's Mikey. Yes, he's a tanky beast, but you can kill him.
Got a lot of magic damage to be able to put the pressure on, and seems like so far the Woofer fans are more than happy to just sit back and farm. And if they are waiting for the Dragonlance as well, then you kind of get into this one more item syndrome, right? Kemps, unfortunately, he's the one that's been found out. This is where a lot of the Winter Bears are really just starting to convene onto his area. Blink Hoofstomp gets on top of the Underlord. He does have the Hood of Defiance at least, or it is a full completed pipe, so he at least mitigates a little bit of this damage. It's going to take them a while to be able to chunk him down. Blade Moose will be able to get the swap in, so they will lose their life, and Kemps will stay alive. So there was a lot of time and effort purely just for eventual spirit kill, so that's not really that worth when it comes to the net worth for Winterbear.
Blade Moose has been playing really well. Like, I know he's 0, 4, and 3, but in terms of his positioning, every single one of his deaths, it's to save a core. And he's been successful every single one of those times. So I've been, quite happy with how he's started this game. I mean, that's the sort of plays that you need to make in order to get this OD and Centaur back into the game, because right now they still absolutely do not have one.
Yeah, speaking of OD, it's Midas alert. He did pick up one. So we got one of them at least.
Take it.
Doesn't look like anybody else is going to pick them up because it looks like there's going to be a fight that's going to break out. Blink Dagger at the ready here for Merlin. QJY, unfortunately, has been found out. A few more of these auto attacks coming in from low skill will mean that the overgrowth doesn't do much. Do they have any idea about where Shushu is? They do have some vision
Maybe
there.
if he takes this Lotus, they'll get an idea. Let's see how tempted he is. Doesn't look like he is. He's trying to loop on around, get any farm off the map wherever possible, and honestly, this isn't the worst idea. You just need to make sure that you're looking to make everything happen as quickly as possible.
They reaped Blade Moose in the river again.
Yeah.
He yoinked an Invis rune underneath the eyes of Mikey, and they did have a sentry. So unfortunately for Blade Moose, it means that he gives another stack away to the Necrophos, and these are starting to stack up. Pardon the pun. 4 so far for the Reaper's side. So what's that? An extra 12 HP regen and 6 mana regen, which is
this tier 1
kind of
tower is almost dead on the top side. I kind of want to see Shushu just walk up and hit it. Just so that there's one fewer tower for people to be able to TP to. Looks like he might end up doing just that. Come on, hit the tower. Hit the tower. They're taking a tier 2. They're not going to kill you.
Especially, he should know that Mikey doesn't have his bots available.
Man, he's not even wanting to get into attack range. He just uses the Meteor Hammer to be able to take it out. I mean, he's doing a pretty good job of, like, hiding them around, but again, Winterbear are also doing a good job of making sure that they're not just sitting back and letting them do this, right? You got to make sure that you're getting some sort of trade happening, and they're hitting a tier 2 tower. It's down to less than half HP. Again, taking away a lot of the farm that they're looking to play around with. I kind of want to see them secure this tier 2 tower, though. It'll enable them to take an additional Tormentor, and we know how good shards are these days.
Ah, Blade Moose.
Nothing you can do, unfortunately.
Yeah, he got found out by Kachal. He did just drop a wall of replica for him, to be fair, so you're probably pretty happy with that if you're Blade Moose. You're like, the wall replicate for me.
Yep.
So it's not too bad, but look at the farm that they've got here on all the cores for Winterbear, right? They've got a full pipe and a Guardian Greaves. Mikey's got the Heart completed now as well. I'd imagine going to be moving towards the Aghanim Scepter. Like, you're going to struggle to kill these heroes before Guardian Greaves and Pipe, and now the Muerta has so much damage in and of herself. She's got her Shard, she's got a full Mjolnir and the Dragonlance. QJY wants to try and TP away, but unfortunately Mikey says no thank you. Reaper's Scythe for another. We're going to call it 5. Once he gets this Aghanim Scepter, man, like this Heartstopper aura, it is just going to melt people to pieces.
Yeah, pretty much. And you even got just the level 15 talent on the Muerto as well, right? Plus 35 damage. That's another little spike coming through. He's got the Aghanim Shard coming out to him as well, so already had the lifesteal coming through from the Vampire Fangs. Now you've got another source of it as well, so I really don't think you can look to stand in man fight against this Muerta. She's going to go Hurricane Pike next, but I'm really just wanting to see after that BKB. Once you BKB Pierce the Veil, there's absolutely nothing that you can do to take her out.
Oh, Blade Moose, you've been found.
He tried to be clever, but
yeah.
Nope.
Wanted to come in and try and yoink a Wisdom Rune, but unfortunately they were there ready to take their own Tormentor after stealing the enemy team's Tormentor at 20 minutes flat. So right now, Winterbear are just kind of skyrocketing up. They're literally vacuuming up everything they have on the map. You can see the drawing is now happening from Mikey. He's just saying, all right, it's time for us to push both of these lanes in. Let's just try and get this game done. I'm just trying to rack my brain.
It's 21 minutes in, and everyone except Darkseer has a shard right now on Winterbear. Like, it's that crazy. They were able to get one early on Mikey, just because the Deathseeker, right? One of the issues about Necro is that you can sometimes get kited, not so much with the Aghanim Shard, and he's got the Boots of Travel as well, so this feels like time for them to just group up and go. There's really nothing that they should be too afraid of on Winterbear right now. Plenty of auras to be able to play around with. Of course, Aghanim Scepter coming up next for Kachal, so he really just wants to make sure that when Luna eventually joins into a team fight, it's actually going to be to the detriment of the Woofer fans team.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I was just having a look across at Dragon Soul, and it seems like he's got a Shadow Blade. Yes, a Shadow Blade completed.
Trying to farm some more, but it gets to a point where you got to do something with that farm. See you later, QJY. Might be able to get one D-ward off.
Oh, it's a lot of damage coming in here from Dragon Soul, though. So maybe this might be the fight they want to try and get in. Kemps goes in with the Fiend's Gate and goes directly out of it once again. Reaper's Scythe will claim a 6th. And unfortunately, for the side of the Woofer fans, I think Dragon Soul did kind of bait out Kemps a little bit there. That was a very aggressive Fiend's Gate, to be perfectly honest, but him completing the channel is, without the rest of his team there, is very hard.
And again, now you know there's no Eclipse, there's no Overgrowth, there's no Fiend's Gate. What's really stopping us from just keeping on pushing forward, right? That's the low skill mentality.
Really nothing. I don't think there is. They've still got the wall of replica. They've still got their Pierce the Veil as well. Shushu's going to try his best with, what, Meteor Hammer, Midas, Dragon.
There's nothing you can do against that.
It just has nothing he does.
Yeah. And it's only going to get worse, right? Okay, they were able to get the courier for low skill. That's a pretty big deal. Means he's not going to have the Hurricane Pike.
Yeah. So
as soon as Melon's there, like, no one can defend against this. You're just going to get Blink Hoof stomped.
They at least now have Kemps coming back with the Firestorm to be able to at least try and de-push some of these waves. But you can just see the amount of damage that Lowskill's able to do, right? The fact that he's got the Gunslinger. They just tear through this full line of racks. 23 minutes. You don't really see this all too often. 23 minutes, almost a full line of racks.
Maybe with Mikey TPing away, that's the indication for them to go forward. But again, they're lacking in their own damage, so not really going to result in all that much.
Maybe Soul can try and make a little bit of a backstab here with the Shadow Blade, but it seems like he's much more preoccupied with just kind of hitting creeps. Low skill is potentially separated. No, it seems like they got cold feet. Hoofstomp goes forward. They have found out Shushu. Takes a lot of damage. The Fear goes directly back into the Phantoms once again, and that is going to be a lot of damage. Mikey wants to throw the Reaper's Scythe, but it's on cooldown for another second. That means that Shushu can just walk away, but they have got the vacuum back here on the QJY. They've caught out the Treant Protector. He did pump fake the root, but it is not going to be enough for them. Blade Moose once again saving the life of one of his cores, but right now it is just Winter Bear just having whatever they would like out of this map, and they are just walking onto the higher ground and just kind of taunting the Woofer fans, saying, what are you guys going to do about it? And
the one they want out of the map is the Treant Protector. He's dead. He's out of the map for another 10 seconds. It was a full 30, and that's why they've gotten so aggressive pushing onto the high ground. The only reason they didn't take the melee racks up top was because the Treant was up there with the living armor previously. So whichever building he ends up putting this living armor onto, they're just going to hit the other one. They might be forced to come back though. EKB is up on Dragon Salt.
Alright, this looks like it is go time. They do have the Overgrowth coming in as well. Massive
Waves here,
vacuum all into everybody. And how much damage do they have? It doesn't look like they have enough. The Woofer fans are going to have to fall back, especially now with the Reaper Scythe going down there onto the Treant Protector. Blade Moose is able to at least get away from Merlin's Soul, though. He's copying a lot of damage from his own illusion. And the Winter Bears, they hold strong after their own nice little bit of team fighting.
And again, we see the reason why you pick Darkseer against the likes of a Luna, right? As soon as you take out one of those high ground towers, you just get that Lunar Illusion, and it just bounces those glaives around, disables any sort of blinks or engagement potential that you have.
And now the question is, what do they really have left here for the Woofer fans?
They don't
They
have
are
anything.
kind of getting ran at. There's at least no Reaper Scythe for Shushu to have to try and deal with, but they will lose a second lane of racks here, and Winter Bear, they are well within pole position. They've been in, I think, pole position for the entirety of this game. They are trying to make something happen here against Mikey, but look at how much XP he has.
So. He's even got a Gossamer Cape as well, so a lot of these right clicks coming through, he's just going to dodge them.
And he's got a full Guardian Greaves and a pipe behind him. There's a Undying with Soul Rip.
Grab Ally.
Tombstone. Yeah, they've got Grab Ally as well, so it is all too hard for them to burst down this Necro. Speak of, they're going to use it aggressively this time around, and they want to try and go in. Mikey's gone directly into the base of
I think he wants to
fans.
dive the fountain. I legitimately do. Maybe he's getting told by his team not to do it, but, I mean, with no Eclipse, how are you going to die? Maybe he's just uncertain as to whether it's up or not, because it's up in another 10 seconds.
He does have the Aghanim Scepter as well, right? So it's just a lot of damage as he's able to constantly just chip away. Low skill still is holding on to this Pierce the Veil. Mikey goes directly in front of everybody here for Woofer fans, especially with the Tombstone as well. Vacuum wall, huge on the 4 again. Everybody's slowed up. Too much damage comes in, and it is Soul standing tall with the BKB, but has to run away. There's too much damage. The Overgrowth is too late, and it feels like there's too many twos for the Woofer fans to deal with, because that is a 2-0 for the side of the Winter Bears, and they will move forward in this bracket. Matt, if I am a smart little man, I'm going to look at the bracket quickly for myself.
Falcons.
They get themselves a Falcons date. Okay. That is